Good evening. This is Pastor Bob Uzzle from the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Corsicana, Texas. I want to pay tribute tonight to a dear friend who passed away 5 years ago today on April 28, 2015. His name is Cliff Cameron. I did not actually attend his funeral because he'd been gone a few weeks before I learned about it. Cliff Charles Cameron was born on July 19, 1963 in Beaumont, Texas. He graduated from Southwest State University in San Marcos with a major in communications and a minor in constitutional law. He pursued a career in law enforcement, serving 13 years with the Waller County Sheriff's Department. However, in 1998, he had to take early retirement because of serious health problems as he became disabled. He married Jeannie Puck in 2006. They settled in the Kaufman County community of Kemp in 2007. I'm very familiar with Kaufman County because I lived there 8 years. From 1979 to 1987, I was pastor of Macedonia AME Church in Kaufman. Kemp, Maybank, Gun Barrel City are all communities right there in a beautiful area of Cedar Creek Lake. And I don't go that way very often, but I always enjoy it when I do. We've been gone from Kaufman for and we became very good friends. He was a minister in a Messianic Jewish sect. He faithfully observed the seventh-day Sabbath and the Jewish feast days while affirming the lordship of Jesus Christ as the Messiah of Israel. He held the honorary degree of Doctor of Divinity. One thing that Cliff and I shared in common, in addition to our Christian faith, was the Masonic fraternity. I met him for the first time at one of my favorite events, the Terrell Christmas Parade. I worked from 1981 to 1986 at Terrell State Hospital, and over the years I've had the pleasure of walking the length of the parade several times. By the way, I love walking in parades, not riding, walking. In fact, I'd rather walk in a parade than to eat. And the Terrell Christmas Parade, I participated over the years with various groups of Prince Hall Masons, sometimes from the Blue Lodge and sometimes from the Shrine. But Cliff was with another Masonic group in a parade. We exchanged business cards. Later, we exchanged emails. He was administrator of a Yahoo group called the Texas Cryptic Masons. According to this blog, the purpose of this unofficial group is to promote cryptic masonry to companions wherever dispersed around the globe as a separate and sovereign body with an ancient craft Freemasonry. Sovereign as being under the jurisdiction of no other branch of masonry in regards to the degrees of Royal, Select, and Super Excellent Master, other programs pertaining to cryptic masonry, except a Grand Council of the General Grand Council, to provide companions with the access to information sources, unique education programs, creative discussions, and eclectic as well as sometimes pro-technic Masonic commentary. We're now the largest group dedicated solely to cryptic masonry on the internet, with companions from grand jurisdictions all across the United States of America, Canada, Australia, Italy, and Israel. We welcome all companions of the Cryptic Rite. The Cryptic Rite is also known as the Council of Royal and Select Masters. In the sequence of York Rite Masonry, it follows the chapter of Holy Royal Arch Masons and precedes the commandery of Knights Templar. Cliff was a member of Cedar Creek Lake Lodge number 1431, Dale Miller Chapter number 44, Dale Miller Council number 40, and Taylor Commandery number 85. All these bodies meet in the same building at Gun Barrel City. And by the way, that's a beautiful building in a beautiful part of Texas on beautiful Cedar Creek Lake. Over the years, he made major contributions to a number of Masonic lodges and York Rite bodies. For 14 years, I was pastor of Wayman Chapel AME Church in Ennis from 2002 to 2016 when I was reassigned to Bethel, Corsicana. And my wife Deborah and I once saw Cliff and his wife Jeannie at Chili's restaurant in Ennis. On Monday, November 12th of 2012, a Veterans Day program was held at Artesia Lodge number 406 in Terrell. And Cliff invited Deborah and I to attend. Unfortunately, I had a teaching engagement, a class I was teaching at night. I was unable to go. But I contacted my good friend Harold Wilson, a Prince Hall Mason who lives in Terrell. Harold did attend. The following Friday, November 16th, 2012, dates and anniversaries are very important to me. I thank God for the fact that I have not had to stay overnight in a hospital as a result of an illness of myself or surgery or whatever since 1982. I had, in November 16th, 1982, I had surgery for a deviated nasal septum by the late Dr. James Anthony at the Terrell Colonial Hospital, which no longer exists. That was November 16th, 1982. On November 16th, 2012, exactly 30 years later, I went to Terrell and did a number of things that day. I went to the site of the old hospital, which is now an empty building. I visited with a psychiatrist whom I worked with during my time at Terrell State Hospital, who's now retired. I did some genealogical research at the public library there. And I went to one of my favorite restaurants, which is Pop's Honey Fried Chicken in Terrell. I had lunch with Harold Wilson and Cliff Cameron. The three of us discussed the desire to bring the Cryptic Rite to Texas Prince Hall Masonry. At that time, Texas Prince Hall had a Royal Arch Chapter, Grand Chapter, and a Grand Commandery of Knights Templar, but no Royal and Select Masters. In Prince Hall, they call the Royal Arch the Red House, the Royal and Select Masters the Purple House, and the Knights Templar the Black House, based on the color of the uniforms. Well, there was no such at the time of Royal and Select Masters in Texas. And sadly, Cliff did not live to see it. But a few years ago, his dream did come true, and the Royal and Select Masters did come to Texas Prince Hall. On Sunday, May 17, 2015, Zakat Court, number 133, the Ladies Auxiliary, to Zakat Temple number 164 in Dallas, held their annual Feast of Thanksgiving at Wayman Chapel AME Church in Ennis, where I was pastor at the time. I'm a longtime member of Zakat Temple. Deborah's a longtime member of Zakat Court. There were a number of Shriners and daughters, as we call them, who attended, mainly from Zakat, but a few from Medjai Temple number 45 in Fort Worth, including Harold Wilson. I made a call to Kemp with plans to invite Cliff to the service. I left a message. Jeannie called me back. I asked to speak to Cliff. That's when I got the news. Cliff had died on April 28th. His funeral was held Saturday, May the 2nd in Kirbyville, Texas, at Adams E.E. Stringer Funeral Home, followed by interment at the Lewis Chapel Cemetery. Like I say, it was a few weeks later before I learned about his death. However, I was able to be a part of his memorial services. At the Hall of Cedar Creek Lake Lodge on May the 30th, 2015, the Blue Lodge Memorial Service was conducted by Worshipful Master Steve Rankin. The Knights Templar Memorial Service was conducted by Commander W.C. Prell. A number of individuals made remarks testifying to Cliff's knowledge of the Bible and of Freemasonry, of his devotion to his faith, his family, and his fraternity. I was honored to be able to stand and pay tribute to him as a friend and brother. Although his primary interest was the York Rite, I have firm conviction that the words of the 14th degree of the Scottish Rite are relevant to him. Virtus junxit, mors non separabit. In Latin, virtue has joined, death will not separate. I look forward to one day meeting Brother Cliff in the Celestial Lodge above. Cliff Cameron, a great and good man. I love you, brother. Have a good evening.